Hey y'all, good morning. So as you can see behind me, I am sitting here waiting for the sun to come up, and you're probably thinking, why? I need to do my third oxalic acid treatment on the bees. It's just much easier to do in the morning before the bees start flying. So they're all still in the hive. There's a very small number of bees that are on the outside of the hive that I can smoke in relatively quickly, and then go in with my vaporizer. So it makes it so much more convenient to do it in the morning. In the evenings, it's still very hot here, and so they still beard a lot on the outside of the hive, and I have to smoke a lot more bees in that way. And I also have to do it closer to sunset, and I just don't really want to do it in the afternoon. So I get up and do it in the morning. So again, this is my third treatment. I might end up doing 4. I'm going to see what the mite drop looks like after this third treatment. So I've done 3 treatments 5 days apart at this point, and I've seen not a huge mite drop on the bottom tray, but there's a decent amount of mite drop. And so for those of you that may not have followed along thus far, mites are basically like ticks of the bee world, and I really need to get them under control before going into winter, because mites can just devastate a bee colony over winter time. Diseases and viruses run rampant. They pass on both of those things, and so it's just important to get those under control before you go into the winter time, and really keep them under control all year long. So that is what I'm going to do here this morning, and here in just a second I'll flip my camera around and I'll show you the equipment that I'll be using for that. Oxalic acid is a organic treatment, and that is why I use it. It is, however, dangerous to me if I inhale it or get it in my eyes or something like that. So there is some special equipment that I need to do this treatment. It's a little bit more involved as far as equipment goes than some of the other treatments, but to me it's worth it. This is my preferred method thus far. And I know some of you like these bee videos and some of you don't. However, this is part of my gardening. I got these bees really for pollination. I really didn't get them for honey. The honey is just going to be the cherry on top, I guess, but I got these bees for pollination. So this is actually a part of my gardening routine. And I know that I haven't had much gardening content out there, but it has just been really hot, and I've had long days at work, and I just can't get around to some of the things. So I think today is going to be 99, tomorrow is going to be 99, Sunday is going to be 96. So we are not in fall yet here in Zone 7 in Oklahoma City, and I don't want to risk transplanting anything, planting perennials or anything like that until it really starts to cool off. But what I can promise you is that I will have a ton more gardening content coming up. My bulbs will be coming in. I need to replace some perennials that I lost in the front and in the back, and then I need to transplant and rotate some things in the front and the back as well. So there is a lot of gardening content coming up. I also need to trim the boxwoods, but again, it's still going to be 100 degrees the next 3 days here. I am so looking forward to fall, but we're just not there yet. We've had a couple teasing weeks of fall where it's been around the mid 80s, which has been really nice. But I don't want to fall for that faux fall weather, and then plant things and then have to go out there and water them like crazy just to get them to potentially get established. It's just hot. So we'll wait. And I have some stuff in the raised beds that I grew as perennials that I've been trying to get out in the landscape. I specifically grew the perennials from seed so that I could pop them in the garden in the front and the back. And it's again, not time to do that either, but I'll have plenty of stuff coming up. So with that said, why don't I just flip my camera around here and I will show you the equipment needed for the my preferred method of mite treatment, oxalic acid vaporization. All right, so here's all the equipment, and I went back and watched a little bit of that intro video, and I apologize. I kept looking down. Our new kitten was outside and she kept messing with all of these things over here, so I was totally distracted by her. So I went ahead and put her up. Because I'm going to have to put her up for the treatment anyways, because if she inhales some of this vapor, it would be dangerous for her. So what I have here is my smoker, typically all my typical bee equipment. I do have a respirator. You're probably wondering why, and that is for the oxalic acid. The oxalic acid I have here. I use the tablets because it's easier than using the powder. It doesn't get everywhere. So I will treat my hive with 4 grams of oxalic acid. Each tablet is 1 gram. And then I have this piece of equipment here. So this is a oxalic acid vaporizer. It's from Laura Bees, and it's really, really nice. It is a little bit of an investment, and I'm planning on having more hives, so I went ahead and invested in this piece of equipment. It makes things really easy. I can get this treatment done in about 30 seconds, and I don't have to even get in the hive, take the top off, and mess with the bees at all. So oxalic acid is an organic compound, and again, that's why I'm using it. I like to use everything organic that I possibly can, but you cannot breathe it in, and if it gets in your eyes, it can be harmful as well. So why don't I just go back here? I'm going to get a lot of this set up here, and I apologize if it's going to be a little bit dark, but you can see the bees there, and I'll get those remaining bees that are on the outside smoked in. These bees are getting ready to fly because the sun is starting to come up. So I'm gonna get them smoked in, and I think this lighting will be okay for you guys to see what I'm doing, and I'll try to get my tripod as close as possible. But what will happen here is I'll smoke these bees in, and I've put on the entrance reducer, which is this black piece. You can see that that entry is very, very small. So I put that on because it's that time of year when colonies will start to rob other colonies. And so I'll get that vaporizer just stuck straight through that little hole right there, and I'll hit the button, and it'll take about 30 seconds, and then we'll be done with this treatment. So I'm going to get this started here. So it just heats up to 445, which you can see there in the green. I'll set it back up because this portion gets really hot right here, this top portion. And then I'm gonna go get my bee suit on, get my smoker lit, and we'll get this treatment started. Okay, so I have my bee suit on. You can't hardly see it, but I have it on. I could probably easily do this treatment without my bee suit, but I just don't want to do that. I really don't feel like getting stung at like 6:30 in the morning. So I'm gonna get my gloves on because I need to get my smoker started, number one, and number two, I don't want any oxalic acid on my hands during this. So let's just get the smoker lit, and then I will get everything moved over to the hive area. I'll show you the oxalic acid tablets, and we'll just get this treatment knocked out. And it is a little bit windy today, which kind of stinks. What I'll do is I will set the vaporizer in the hive, and I will walk away just because I don't want any of that vapor blowing on me. Okay, it's windy enough to where I can't get this lit, so I might have to go inside and start it real quick, or get out of the wind. Maybe. I use burlap in my smoker. I won't need much smoke here, but you can see it's black. This is a used piece of burlap. It lights a little bit easier, and I really am not gonna need much more than this. Actually, I won't even need all of this. Oh my gosh, the wind's driving me crazy. All right, let me go over here and get this started out of the wind, and then I'll be back. Okay, should have my smoker started well enough to get these bees in the hive. Let's get over here and get everything set up.
Okay, I'm gonna try to speak as loudly as I can. I have this respirator on, so it might be a good idea, if you can't hear me, to turn on your closed caption. I also have a slatted bottom board on this hive, so I'm going to close that on the back so a lot of this vapor doesn't go out the bottom of the hive. This is what the oxalic acid tablets look like. Each of these are 1 gram. It is recommended, I think it's technically 1 gram per deep, but I do 2. And a lot of other people say you should do more. There's studies that came out that says 4 per deep is really effective, but I chose to do just 4 per 2 deeps.
Okay, and that is it. That is the extent of the treatment. You saw that I put a rag in front of the hive. I'm gonna close the hive off for about 3 to 5 minutes to make sure that oxalic acid kind of settles on the bees and is effective. So yeah, we should see some mite drop after this treatment, and hopefully this is my last treatment, but we'll see. Maybe one more, but at least you guys can see how I treat for mites. As much as I would love to be treatment free, it's just kind of unrealistic at some point. I know a lot of people out there do treatment free, but it's just such a huge risk to the colony over winter and really in the summertime and other times of the year. But I just don't want to lose this colony that I've invested so much in. I've had them make all their own comb. I have spent this entire year since April getting these bees to this point, and I don't want to risk not treating them and losing them through the winter just because I didn't want to treat. Again, realistically, it's not super realistic. There's people that argue out there, but for me, I just chose to treat because I don't want to lose my investment that I've had going since April. And I plan on getting another hive in the spring, and I'm still debating on if I'm going to split this current hive. We'll see how they look when they come out of winter, really, if I'm going to split this hive and then create a new hive from this hive and not buy new bees, or if I'll just buy another package of bees. That remains to be seen, but that's going to depend on how these bees overwinter. So anyways, that is all that I have for this video. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.